You oughtn't have done that.
Done what? I says. A big slice of doner flapped onto me chin. I sucked it up, leaving a bit of chilli sauce that burned me lips, even after I licked it off.
Butted legsy. Ought to have been more careful.
I hadn't thought about that for a bit. It had all been a long time ago as far as I were concerned. Water under the bridge and that. Plus I'd had 10 or 12 pints since then, and done my best to get on with it. Legs seemed like he'd forgot about it himself after a bit, and rightly so. An accident is an accident after all, and a grudge between pals is like drinking beer out of a teacup, as they says. It don't feel right, and there's no point to it. Aye, he'd cleared off a bit early, before the night had gone into the full swing of itself. But Legsy were a milkman, so you had to make concessions for him on that score. Legsy's all right, I says. It were only a scratch anyhow.
Ain't the point, is it? Legsy don't like being made a cunt of. He don't. You ought to know that.
Nah, he's all right. I rammed the last handful of scran into me gob and started chewing. Like Finney, I screwed up the paper and went to lob it at a passing vehicle. Only it were the meat wagon, so I didn't.
Fuck, says Finn. You almost done it there.
For a second, the meat wagon looked like carrying on up the road. The Muntons had already bothered us that day, and it weren't their practice to harass us more than the once the same day. But it slowed anyhow, and pulled in a few yards up the way. The two of us stopped, then started walking again, slowly.
What's up here then?
Whispers Finn. Dunno.
You must know. It's you they'm after.
Says who?
Never bothers with me, does they? Must be you. Always bothering you, they is. Fucking shut up.
We was getting closer and closer to the van. The back doors was filthy, but no one had written in the dirt. No one ever wrote in the dirt of the meat wagon. The only words on the body was the Munton Motors, painted black and red on the side. I was starting to get a bad feeling about it all. Finn were right. The Muntons was always bothering us. For the past 2 years anyhow. But all they was doing were keeping us in check. They never had cause to fuck with us, and never would have. No, there was something different about this, though I couldn't rightly say how so. As we passed the front end, I couldn't bring myself to look at the windows. They was blacked out anyhow, so there were no point. But you could be sure Jess would be on the roadside, Lee behind the wheel, and Baz, like as not, between the two of them, if they could fit him in. And they'd all be looking for the whites of my eyes. I stopped. Ain't sure why. I stopped right there next to the window. Finn stopped and all, though I could feel how hard it were for him. I turned and looked at the black window. Aye, it were blacked out all right, but if that weren't her face pressed up against it, I don't know what it were. I wanted to run. I wanted to peg it like Billy O and not stop until the front door were bolted behind us. And me, a doorman. Aye, I'll admit it. I was scared shiteless right then. Hard as it might be for you to believe, knowing my profession and reputation and all. But like all professionals, I put on a straight face, and even managed a bit of a smile and nod. Then I set off again, nice and casual. Finney bolted a few yards, but slowed when he saw us still walking. It's all right, I says. Them shitting us up is all.
Aye, they am that.
Ain't follering, is they? Finn looked over his shoulder and shook his head. We walked for another 2 or 3 minutes before Finn spoke.
What you gonna do?
About what?
About what? Fucking Muntons is what?
I shrugged and flobbed into the gutter.
Gotta do summat, Blakey. Muntons is after you.
Muntons ain't after us.
Looks to me like they is. Looks that way to most folks.
I stopped. All right. What's folks saying?
Nothin'. What I just said is all.
What's you heard?
Nothin', like I says.
Tell us.
Get off us, Blake. You'll rip me shirt.
I let go of him, but kept my face up close.
All right,
he says. His breath smelt of spew. Finney weren't built like the rest of us. It were his habit to sly off to the bogs for a quiet chunder after 8 pints or so.
Folks is saying that the Muntons is after you.
Bollocks! Spit it out, you cunt! I watched him get up off the floor and brush the dust and dead leaves off his jeans. I reckon I must have pushed him a bit hard. Him being steady on his feet, even when pissed. I never want to fall on his arse of his own accord. But I couldn't recall doing it. His elbow were bleeding a bit, and I'd feel a bit bad about that on a normal day, same as I'd felt bad about nutting legs. But this weren't a normal day. This were the day when everything started turning to shite.
Them calling you a...
Come on, fuck's sake!
Them calling you a bottler, Blake. Blake, you all right?
I got a fag out, lit it, and smoked it caught away down in one pull.
You all right, mate?
Aye.
Look fit to topple there a minute.
Well, I'm all right. I started walking up the hill. It weren't so easy now. The talk had sucked the sap out my legs.
You know what folks is like.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.